You have an attorney. Can I call somebody for things like statute of limitations?
No.
No, I can't.
No. Do you have enough tape there?
Okay. Hi, thank you for coming. Richard Recker. Sometimes you go by Rich and sometimes Richards.
But always recker.
Oh, Recker. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah, and
Okay.
anything but Dick. Don't call me Dick. That name has gone out of fashion.
It has indeed.
Rich is fine.
You want to introduce your
Yeah, this is my mom, Yvonne Recker.
Okay. Okay.
Maiden name Snyder. And my
Okay.
father has since passed, so he won't be with us today.
Okay. And when were you born?
I was born September 1st, 1959.
Around here?
I was born in Portland, and Mom can fill in the details, but we lived in outer southeast Portland off of Division on Lincoln Street for 3 years, 3 of my years, and then we bought a new house here in Milwaukie.
In 1962.
We being my mom and dad bought a new house here in
1962 we
Milwaukie.
moved here.
1962.
Okay. And so were you born in Portland?
No, I was born in Salem, and then my dad worked in the shipyard during the war, and so the family moved first to Milwaukie, down by the river. We tried driving by there, couldn't really spot it, but it was the last house on that first road down by the river, and we lived there.
Was it in the war era housing?
No,
it's not there anymore, or was it?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, it was a private home. But I think they were only renting there until Kellogg Park opened up. And it was just off of Highway 99.
Right.
Just north of the town. And so when defense housing was available, we moved up there. So I went to first and second grade in Milwaukie.
At Milwaukie Elementary.
At Milwaukie Elementary.
Where else?
Yeah.
Yes. That's great. And, okay, where am I here? Please excuse me.
No problem.
Okay, so you grew up here and you went to all the Milwaukie schools also.
Yeah, I like to think I'm still growing up.
Okay.
I get reminded of that every once in a while.
Okay, well, I see you have a Band-Aid, so you still get boo-boos.
I'll tell you all the stories you want to hear. But yes, we were fortunate to be here at, I think, a real strong time in Milwaukie. And my older brother and my 2 younger sisters and I all went through the Milwaukie system at Hector Campbell and Wilbur Rao, and then Milwaukie High School.
And what kind of things do you remember doing as you're growing up in Milwaukie?
I think I'll try to generally characterize it. Probably, I'll let my mom chime in. We spent a lot of time outdoors. Long leash, long days outdoors with friends, lots of kids our ages, playing traditional games, lots of sports, maybe getting into a tiny bit of trouble here and there, but by and large, playing nice.
Are your friends that you grew up with, any of them still here? Are you still friends?
Yes. Now you're gonna have to. You asked me how are my school years. I got like hours I could go on that.
Okay, well,
but you keep me on point here.
I'm not looking for your GPA or anything.
So I guess I just wanted to characterize a lot of outdoor time. When dinner time came, Dad's whistle was enough. We made it in. Always a hearty meal there. We lived. I think my mom made a lot out of a little bit of money and helped feed us, make sure that always looked right, and we're ready to, put our shoulder into school.
That's great.
Yeah.
And did you work during that time?
No, I was a homemaker.
Okay.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks. I did do a little babysitting at home. Maybe had even 3 or 4 little ones at one point, but It
So,
wasn't
daycare.
It wasn't a long-term thing.
Yeah, that's great. And what did your dad do?
He's retired, long-time professional at Pacific Northwest Bell, and later
Whatever it
maybe
became.
retired as AT&T even.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he worked nights, so pretty much graveyard shift.
oh man, that's tough for you.
Well, I made him sleep in the daytime, so.
If you haven't met my dad, it probably was a little bit of a blessing to just get little doses of him. I think I inherited that actually, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, you'll kick me out here in about a half hour
Okay.
for a lot of the same reasons.
I'm timing.
Okay.
I grew up with 5 brothers, so it takes a lot. Okay, so tell me some stories about Milwaukie, both of you. All 3 of you, if you want. Did you go to a lot of the events? Milwaukie Days?
I think of our growth in circles. So it started out when we were in younger days, our world was the neighborhood. And then the circles got bigger. It became the school, and the world was somewhere between our home and the school. And then each season was a graduation, you know. Often would walk to school to row with a saxophone, and especially if I missed the bus. There were no bailouts in that time. If you miss the bus, you walk over the hill.
Well, if you're like me, you occasionally miss the bus on purpose.
Yeah.
Just so you could be late to school and walk.
Whose story is this? Is this your story?
I'm sorry.
You get over here.
I'm sorry, I do that. Don't let me do that.
Do you still play sax? The saxophone.
I visit it now and again.
Was it alto? Alto?
I started out with the alto, and I think there's probably different threads we could go off, but band and music programs were tremendously well supported in our era. We just recently lost our director, high school director, Chuck Swan. Another strong family that we are well connected to and love. And the band was so well supported that they provided horns when you got to the high school level, and they were top of the line stuff. And so got to play some really, really fine saxophones through high school. And really good era of musicians. Incredible.
So when you got out, did you join bands or?
No, I personally made a choice. I was also involved in sport, and when I got to college, I focused on running and played a little basketball up at Lewis and Clark.
Oh, that's where you went to school.
Yeah. So music's always been important. I always have a dream of getting an instrument again and playing again. Maybe we'll still have that season ahead of us.
That'd be great.
Yeah, music was important in our family. Mom and dad supported that. A lot of families, I think, had school-based music, but also had the luxury of taking some lessons and creating some momentum and finding your instrument. We don't all start out on the instrument we end up on. But everybody in our family, I think it was almost an expectation in Milwaukie to be in band. I was commenting to the current band director, who said they had no drum line and no marching band, that at any given time at a Milwaukie football game, there could be as much as a quarter of the student population on the field.
Wow.
So band, color guard, dance team, football team, and the community was in the stands. It wasn't about football. It was about being a community. Yeah.
Yeah, things are changing.
No offense to football players, but Friday nights were about the band, from my perspective.
I guess we all kind of did that, didn't we?
But I skipped over. You asked another question. Stories about growing up. Is that what you asked?
Yeah, growing up in Milwaukee. And maybe you want to chime in about, oh yeah, I remember that.
Just right offhand, I think he covered it well. The kids were involved in all kinds of things. They had really good opportunities, and they maybe each had their own special interest. But it was, the opportunities were there, and so
That's
We
kind
tried to
of,
help them take advantage of those things.
that's wonderful. It's kind of the times too when we, when we were young, when we had more opportunities.
Yeah, we also, I label it, there's a popular TV show that was out called The Wonder Years, and a movie called Pleasantville. I don't know if you've ever, part of it was like our own sense of having a safety bubble and family and a strong community. But to be honest with you, Milwaukie in the 60s was in a bit of a bubble. There was quite a social turmoil happening during that season that, at least at our age, we were relatively unaware of.
Right?
And I think that there was some positive things that were attached to being protected from that, and there are things that we had to deal with later in life, especially being a white man, about how the world's not all the same as Milwaukie, Oregon. It's far more colorful and far more diverse, and frankly, very specifically, Milwaukie in the 60s and 70s was a time where we rarely saw people suffering. We rarely saw people doing without. And I think we've come to appreciate, and certainly now in this season of the world, there are a lot of people who are suffering, a lot of people who are doing without. The one thing that our